Hello, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. Welcome back to the channel. How is your day going? How are you doing? All right. Still on what we want to talk about. We want to talk about Bello Turji. Bello Turji is a deadly bandit leader in Nigeria. But we realize that this man today, Bello Turji embraces peace and surrenders arm. He embraces peace and surrenders arm. That is so interesting to me. And I'm like, wow. I mean, on August 5th, which is today, Zamfara is a state in Nigeria, and Zamfara's most wanted notorious bandit leader, Bello Turji, formerly laid down his weapon. And guess what? He freed 32 kidnapped victims, children, women, and men who had languished in captivity for up to 4 months. You can imagine. And this came in as, give me one moment, guys. And this came in as part of a peace agreement brokered by Islamic clerics. Let me call them Islamic religious leaders in the Fakai forest of Shinkafi local government area in Nigeria. Okay? And this deal was forged by faith leaders. So according to Musa Yusuf Asadu Suna, this is the cleric who mediated the talks. He said they met with Turji 3 times. So Turji met 3 times with a delegation of people representing the local community. So he met with them in July. In addition to releasing the hostages, some of whom gave birth. So some of his, oh Lord have mercy, some of his hostages gave birth. Some of them suffered snake bites while in captivity. Turji handed over a cache of arms to demonstrate his commitment to peace. This, guys, happened today. For those who do not know, it has been very difficult for people in the northern part of Nigeria to farm because of, bandits, armed bandits, abducting them, kidnapping them, doing all sorts of things to them. And one of those deadly bandits handed over a cache of arms to demonstrate his commitment to peace. Wow. Thank you, Lord. Maybe things are beginning to get better in this Nigeria. Since the accord, residents report that they can safely return to their farms along the riverbanks without fear of abduction. I wish this can happen everywhere so that Nigeria can be safe again. Because when you talk about security in Nigeria, it's nothing to write home about. I'm going to do a video about a guy called Fish Magnet. Fish Magnet was just going about his own business, selling fish, posting on TikTok, posting on Instagram, and doing his thing. But before we knew it, this man was kidnapped. And then before we knew it, when you are kidnapped, they will be asked, your people will be asked for a ransom. His mother looked for the money, got the money, paid the money, only for them to return his lifeless body. They dumped it along the street. That's to show you that it's not safe. That's to show you how, and now this is not even in the north. I think this guy, I'm well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this guy is in the south. I don't know. All right, that's the fish magnets I'm talking about is in the south. But this Turji man, who is one of the deadly bandits, is in the north. Okay, so since this deadly bandit has, decided to do this, hopefully, we pray that there will be peace. People can peacefully go about their businesses. I don't know, I believe it's not the only one. There are quite a number of them, in different locations. These people would collect money and it is what it is. It is what it is. It is just so sad. Give me one moment, guys. It is just so sad. All right. So hopefully people will be able to go back to or go to their businesses. People will be able to be safe again. They'll be able to do things again. Minoxidil is a prescription ingredient proven to regrow hair in 3 to 6 months. Biotin is a high-grade vitamin to support healthy. Sorry, guys. So hopefully people will be able to, go about their businesses again. Hopefully. All right. So since the accord, it says that residents report that they can safely return to their farms along the river bank without fear. I hope that lasts forever. So who is this Bello Turji that we are talking about? Who is this guy? This guy was born in 1994 in Chinkafi. Bello Turji Kachala rose from a Fulani cattle header background to become, so he was a cattle header, to become one of the Northwest Nigeria's most feared bandit commanders. Hey, from Fulani cattle header to bandit commander, he's been linked to massacres. Like, why would people even do this? He's been linked to massacres that claim nearly 200 lives in 2022 alone. And those massacres are targeting both security forces and vulnerable rural communities. So how did they broker this peace? This kind of person, they're supposed to catch him and just end him, in my opinion. But what do I know? So Turji surrenders should signal a tangible reduction in violence along the Shinkafi axis. Hopefully, all other bandits to be able to do the same in other areas, okay? Local vigilante groups and the Zamfara Community Protection Guard reports fewer raids, and farmers have planted new crops ahead of the next harvest season. Now, this localized calm, I would say, would offer some hope that negotiated truces can complement military offenses in curbing bandits. If we notice, it was Alphas, Muslim clerics, that sat down with him, according to the news. I wonder what the negotiation was about that brought them to this point. But let's look at the bright side. Now, with the restoration of safe access to farmland in that area, households that depend on agriculture can rebuild again. They can rebuild their livelihood that was disrupted by years of terror. Okay? Even food security in Zamfara would come back again. It will, people will be able, because people are able to farm, so there will be more food. It will help farmers resume cultivation, and it will help stabilize the local markets. It will help stabilize the prices of food, and it will stem urban rural migration, because a lot of people will run away from the villages if they cannot go to their farms. They will run away from the village and go to the cities. So, but now that they are able to farm in the villages, they will be able to produce more. What is going on is a lot of people run away from those villages, they go to the cities. These are the people that are doing the agriculture, and they send whatever their food produce is, they send it to the cities. But now nobody is planting food. Nobody is planting anything because they are afraid of going to the farms. Therefore, they run to the cities. Hence, no food. There is shortage of food. Supply of food becomes limited. Hence, prices of food go up. Cost of living increases. Inflation. Yet, salaries remain the same. Everybody in Nigeria is complaining. Oh, the government. Just this kind of having this kind of bandits in our presence is enough to disrupt the economy, to make living in Nigeria miserable. Okay? So the President Bola Tinubu, the National Security Advisor, and Governor Duda Lawal of Zamfara have all applauded and lauded the cleric's role and the government's openness to soft approaches alongside the military action. Okay? Their supports lend credibility to combining dialogue with force to address complex insurgencies. Any approach that may shape Nigerians' future is welcome, in my opinion. So this is a welcome approach. Okay. What did I want to say? Okay. I would say that let's look at the road ahead. Now, clerics deliberately stopped short of demanding Turji's full disarmament, fearing he had become vulnerable to rival gangs that are opposed to peace. Until all his weaponry is surrendered and reintegrated. Okay, let me put it. Until all his weaponries are surrendered, they are saying that reintegration programs are in place, okay, for this kind of people. However, let's not forget that the risk of relapse remains real. Can this start all over again? Yes. So for this to be durable, for this to last long, durable security will require sustained dialogue. It will require community reconciliation and a lot of social economic development across the wider northern region of Nigeria. Because this whole thing has become a cancer to the country. Now, what is the implication of all of this that I've been saying for Nigeria as a whole? So this month's unexpected pivot, that's Bello Turji's unexpected pivot, offers a blueprint for blending negotiation with military pressure, as I have said, potentially reducing the human and economic toll of, protracted conflicts. Now, if we try and replicate this elsewhere, meaning these faith-based interventions, could it help heal fractured communities? I don't know about that. The fact that it worked in one place does not mean it will work in another place. In fact, it could worsen the case in another place. Mhm. But there's a probability that it could work and bolster, governments. It will help us see the government as legitimate. Oh, okay, the government is embracing, anything. But it's also a shame in a way. But at the same time, it's okay if the government says, okay, we like the diplomacy, we like the soft approach, even though we want to use the hard approach. Okay. It could pave way for more resilient local economies, this kind of approach. But would it work everywhere? I don't know, and I don't think so. Will this be sustainable? I hope so. I hope this is sustainable for the country. Okay? For that place, even. Yet, the success of this model, in my opinion, it hinges on a whole lot of follow through. There has to be comprehensive discernment. There has to be support for former combatants like this guy, right? If you know you want things to stop, what are the things in place to rehabilitate people like this? And we need to look at the root cause of banditry. What are the root causes of banditry? Was it poverty? Was it communal grievances? Was it politically motivated? What could be causing this? These are questions that need answers to. Okay? So, from what I see here, Nigeria stands as a crossroad because these kidnappings, this banditry has eaten deep. So, by building on these hard won truths, policymakers have a very rare opportunity to advance lasting peace in this northwestern part of Nigeria. There's a lot of work to be done in transforming terror zones into, areas of prosperity again. Okay, so looking at this story, if you're watching me, what can we learn from here? What are your thoughts? What are the lessons that we can learn from here? Like I said, this is not a political channel. I just bring in stories to teach us how we can learn and stand in our power through this. Okay. Here's what my audience, you all, can take from Bello Turji's unexpected turn towards peace. It's always good to embrace peace. True strength is shown in laying down your arms. For him to have done that, it takes more courage to release your power than to wield it. In my opinion, I want to say that was courageous of him. When he surrendered some of his weapons, he demonstrated that real authority can come from choosing peace over perpetual conflict. Sometimes, for you to have real authority, just go for peace. In your life, ask yourself, take a step back, ask, am I actually moving forward? In what areas am I refusing to choose peace? And when I refuse to choose peace, how powerful am I? And in those areas where I've chosen peace, how powerful am I? And just oppose them and let me know what you think in the comment section. Okay? We also see that a handful of respected clerics sat down in the Fakai forest. They had over 3 meetings with Turji and convinced him to free 32 captives and halt raids on farmers. Now, why am I pointing here? I'm pointing here because you need to understand and never underestimate the power of calm, persistent conversations. Whether you are negotiating at work, whether you are mending a friendship, or standing up for yourself, we all need to understand the power of calm, persistent conversations, not conversations that are disrespectful. Okay? Another thing I see here was that the peace accord wasn't imposed from the government. It wasn't imposed from the presidency. It was brokered from the local voices. So that peace accord did not come from top to bottom. No, it came from bottom up. So there are different types of leaderships. And those 2 different types of leaderships, they have their different types of power. Something that the leadership at the top could not stop, the leadership from the bottom, they were able to stop it. That peace accord was brokered by local voices who understood the pain of the victims and the fear of driving Turji's men, or the fears facing Turji's men, let me put it like that. So they were able to put themselves in both scenarios. Okay, if I'm in Turji's camp, what would I be thinking at this point? And if I'm the victim, what would I be thinking? What do those 2 groups want? And these local voices, because of how they are placed in the realm of power, they understood both the pain of the victim and the pain of the bandit. So what am I saying in essence? When you seek change, involve those people that are most affected in leading change. Let them take ownership. Share the ownership of change, because when you share ownership of change, it creates lasting commitment. You see how the cleric people, they are not the presidents, they don't hold any offices, but they were able to say, hey, they owned the process and they were able to create something out of it because they were committed to the process. I don't know who is listening to me. You could be a leader, you could be a CEO, whatever you are. Always know that you need to carry everybody along in change. It's very, very important. And let people own the process. Okay? So, in my opinion, I would say small wins fuel big victories. Okay? This could look like a small win in some people's eye. But in my opinion, if continued and done correctly, it will fuel bigger victories. What are your thoughts? So Turji's release of just those 32 captives is the first step. It's not the finish line. We are just starting. Okay? So we need to celebrate every hostage that has been freed, every fear faced, every barrier that are broken. That's why I'm doing this. Every barrier broken has to be celebrated, and let those wins propel you forward towards your next goal, no matter how daunting it seems. Okay? I don't know where you are, what stage of your life you are in. You have a goal, but you have started small and you are seeing results. Celebrate every single process. Every process, you celebrate it. because it will lead you to the bigger goal, to the bigger wins. Another thing I learned from this is, you see, sometimes in life, hope will just spring from unlikely places. This is a man labeled Nigeria's most wanted. And that man is now paving the way for farmers to return safely. I can't speak. That man is now paving the way for farmers to return safely to their lands. Okay. Why am I talking about this? I'm saying this because even in your life, your own transformation might come from surprising turns. So you need to stay open to unexpected opportunities for growth, even when they come from those you least expect. When they come from those people you don't expect, just stay open. From what I see also in this case, military pressure alone did not end the violence in Zamfara, but there was a combining force with faith-based dialogue. Authorities, when they did this, they unlocked a breakthrough. So in your endeavor, I want to encourage us to pair assertiveness, right, with boundaries. Let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. No, let me put it this way. Pair assertiveness with empathy. Let me not use boundary. So in your assertiveness, you're going to be, hey, you can't do this. You're going to be setting boundaries. You're going to be making demands. You're going to be negotiating. And while you do that, you also need to be empathetic. While you are negotiating and you are making demands, you should be listening. You should be building relationships just to achieve the most sustainable change. That's how you broker change. Okay? Another thing I see here is that the clerics did not just push Turji to surrender every gun at once. That tells me that accountability requires follow through. They didn't, well, like when you commit to a goal, to a relationship, to a promise, you need to plan realistic steps and guardrails to keep momentum without burning bridges. He surrendered some. They're also looking, okay, we don't want him to have backlash from rival groups. Okay? For many years, the Zamfara farmers, they've lived in terror of abduction, but today they are back tilling their field. That's how you transform fear into agency. I need you to remember that reclaiming your power often comes or often means facing the very thing that scares you step by step with support, and then you will find your way again. Why am I doing this story? I'm doing this story so that we can use this takeaway to stand in our own power, so that you can use the takeaway to stand in your power. Whether you are navigating conflict, whether you are leading a team or rebuilding after a setback, you need to blend courage with compassion and watch what that once felt impossibility becomes. That impossibility or that thing that you felt was impossible becomes your next reality, your next victory. That's what it becomes. Okay? So let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are about this in the comment section. Yes, we are to celebrate that he Bello Turji surrendered arms. Okay? And we hope that the process is complete. But most importantly, let's use this. There are a lot of things that we can learn from this. I just pray and hope that this is sustained and that a lot of people learn from this. And yeah, that's my take on Bello Turji. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. I will be right back.